Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Q&A part 2. Guys, some of these questions are a little bit personal, so I'm going to do my best to answer as best as I can. So one of the questions that I got was, what made me not go the traditional route of getting married and having kids? Well, it really wasn't a decision. When I was young, like pretty much everybody else, you think about, oh, what's my wedding going to be like? And what's my first kid's name going to be like? Am I going to have a boy or a girl? How many kids? And, and then kind of as time goes on, you have this vision and then your vision changes for whatever reason. So for me, from the time I was like 6 or 7 years old, really, really, really young, my one goal was I was going to go to college and I was going to be a writer. I wanted to be a journalist, which is what I studied when I went to college. And I got a degree in journalism, never worked in journalism, but that was my degree. Never really pursued writing beyond just for my own entertainment, because once you get started doing actual full-time work, doesn't leave that much spare time for other things. But that was always my main focus, more than anything. And I kind of thought in my mind that that was much more important to me, to be able to get a degree, to look at what a future could be for myself without having to depend on anybody. And not to say that I didn't want to get married or I wasn't looking to have children. I wanted to do that as well, but things just never really panned out. Jane from James Jam had asked if I ever had the great love of my life, and I've had a couple of loves of my life, and unfortunately, they all turned out to be pretty much losers, or guys that I really just didn't want to get involved with too long term. I don't know that I could really even give up any examples. One time I was told that I was a gold digger because I was wearing, Chanel sandals. I'm not going to lie about that. And he said that one of his female friends pointed out that I was wearing these Chanel sandals, which I bought for myself on sale, okay? And that, I was a gold digger. Well, this guy was broke as a joke, so I never asked him for anything. So what would give him the impression that I was gold digger, I don't know. But I don't know. This was in his mind, and who knows. And I had a couple of guys who were extremely, extremely like crazy possessive, where one I basically told, if you want obedience, go get a dog, because that's kind of what they wanted, You're going to call me every 2 minutes. And I was never really like that kind of a person. And I remember being in high school, and I remember that there were girls that would say, oh, I can't do this. My boyfriend won't let me. Well, if you're 15 years old or 16 years old, and you're already in that mindset of, my boyfriend won't let me wear certain things, won't let me do certain things to my hair. I mean, what does that say about you and your own self-confidence and your future? So bottom line is, I was always very independent, and I never wanted to get involved with somebody who was just going to be, there to just be, a husband that I could say, oh, look, I'm married, here's my husband, here's my husband, and my husband this, and my husband that. If I'm not truly in love, I don't want a husband. I mean, I just don't, it's fine to be with somebody, and it's fine to date, and it's fine to have some kind of a relationship. But after it goes past a certain point, I mean, I'm kind of traditional in that respect. If I'm with somebody for a couple of years, if you think that you're going to keep drinking the milk without buying the cow, like that's not happening for 15, 20 years. For many, many reasons. So that was pretty much it. But, I'm very happy with my life. I'm happy with my decisions. And it would be wonderful to have some male companionship. But again, I don't want to just have another body hanging around that I don't really have any feelings with, just to say, oh, well, you know, I have somebody, because that's just not going to work for me. So that is the answer to that question. Okay. Getting on to some luxury related questions, and I'm going to go back to some more personal ones. Luxury related questions. Do I have any luxury regrets? Asks Lula Lux West. Hi, Lula. I'll be seeing you soon. Would I do anything different? Okay. Since I bought my first luxury, like back in the early 2000s, I can't think of anything that I would have done differently back then, except for probably buy more Chanel, which for some reason I was really into Louis Vuitton, and Chanel was a little bit more expensive, but we're talking about not even close to what it is now. I mean, not even near. And there were a couple of opportunities that I had to get some really cool things that would not have been so ridiculously expensive, and I could kick myself. But that's that. When I got back into buying luxury, I regret very much buying Saint Laurent and Gucci bags that were in styles that I thought were gorgeous that really didn't work for me. And I really kind of set my mind to, and I'm going to get into this on another video, admiring certain things from afar and really understanding that there are things that I don't need to have. I don't need to add them to my collection. So yeah, I think that that's definitely something that I've really focused on. And I think that when you are getting into luxury, and I'm talking about bags, clothes, shoes, whatever, jewelry, if it's not going to work for you, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is, because it's, you know, it's just a waste. And I don't want to, again, just have something to say, oh, I have this bag, and, you know, it just doesn't mean anything to me. I have to really want to use it and love it and be excited for it. Beyond just, you know, here it is, and I have the ability to buy it. Okay. So Craig Birkenboy, my friend Craig, wants to know, what is my ultimate wish list item from Hermes? And if it's a bag, what color and what size? I really don't know that I have an ultimate wish bag from Hermes. I guess if I could pick my favorite style of bag from Hermes, I really, really love the Mini Bolide. I think the Mini Bolide is beautiful, and I would probably want it in a blue. I'm not really sure which blue. Probably, you know, something close to blue jean, I think, would be what I would gravitate toward the most. I don't really like an electric blue, but I do like a deep blue. So something like that would be ideal. Another ultimate wish list bag that I do have from Hermes is one of the special edition Her bags. And I've mentioned this before. I really love my Her bag. And they do come out with some that have the printed canvas. And they're very, very limited. They are extremely, extremely hard to get. And I would really love to have one of those depending on what is released. So doesn't have to be next week. I'm honestly not much of a Kelly or a Birkin girl at all. You know, I may change my mind at some point, but, you know, if that's my ultimate bag wish, that would be for a Mini Bolide or for the Her bag. Someone else had asked me, and I did not write the name down, what would be my ultimate dream bag? And my ultimate dream bag, which I did not buy when they were available, and I still would like to buy one if I can find one at a really good price, would be either a Speedy or a Neverfull from the Catagram collection. And guys, I got to admit, like, I'm kicking myself now, because when that Catagram was released, I thought, oh, do I really need a Louis Vuitton bag with cats all over it? Like, is that really something sensible? And now I'm looking back and I'm like, yes, yes, I needed that catagram bag, and now I don't have it, and I want it, and oh God. So that's definitely one that I would like to have. Jane had asked me whether I have a vintage bag, Jane of James Jam, and I'll link Craig's channel and Jane and Yota. I thought I had linked her last week, but I'll make sure to link her channel too. If I could have any vintage bag, brand new with the tags and everything, which bag would I choose? And I'm going to have to go back to Chanel, and I'm going to have to go back to, I think it was 2001 or 2002, and I don't remember the specific name of this collection, but I did find one not long ago. It was a fabric flat bag, and it was black, and it had the Mademoiselle symbols on it, which I know sounds crazy, right? Like, if I could have any bag, why would this be the bag? But I just have such an awesome memory. I was in the Soho store. I don't think that this bag was more than $1,500 at the time, honestly. Might have even been a little bit less, but it was somewhere in that neighborhood. And I just remember this bag, and I remember just being so taken with it because I thought the design was really cool. And if I could go back and if I could pick up that bag now, brand new with tags, I definitely would. Next question. David of David's Closet. My friend David is asking, which designer or creative director or house would you like to meet if given a chance? I think if I could meet any creative director, probably it would be Marc Jacobs, only because he's so iconic for me for what he did with LV, back at around that time when I first started to buy luxury. And he's still relevant today. And I would want to ask him, how did you stay relevant for all of this time? And what do you do to keep your creativity up? Because he's just always coming out with something new, something that people want. And, even with LV, like, they're still using his designs. So I think that they need to take a page from his book. And I think, he has a lot to offer as far as where to get inspiration and how to just keep being relevant. GCLY wanted to know my first luxury bag and brand. And I know I answered that in the last video, but just as a reminder, it was a Louis Vuitton Speedy 25. And I bought it in January of 2002. So yes, and I still have it and I still wear it. Chanel 13577 and my friend Coach Jean both asked me, where did my love of bags come from? Do I have a process in deciding what I will add to my collection? That's going to be another video. Jean wanted to know if my mom loved handbags as much as me, and is that where it comes from? So no, my mom really wasn't a bag person, although she liked bags, but she really wasn't into designer bags, and bags weren't really her thing. She loved house things. I mean, house decor, things to decorate the house and make the house look nicer, really what she focused on. She loved shoes, she loved clothes, but it wasn't where she specifically focused on collecting any particular thing. My grandmother loved nice things. My grandmother loved nice things more than my mom did, as far as clothes and jewelry and, personal things, makeup and perfumes. She's the one who really was very into those specific things. So I know I get it from her. And I think I mentioned this before in another video. From the time I was a really, really little girl, I used to watch old movies. And I mean, I'm talking little, like 10, 11 years old. I was really, really little. And I would watch movies from the 40s and the 50s. And I just loved all of their styles. I just loved looking at the different coats and the shoes and the bags. And it got me into researching on my own who some of these designers were, who the actors and actresses were, and where that style originated. And that's really where I kind of got my education. And I like bags since I was like, I'm going to go back to first grade. okay? And this was in the 70s, guys. And this is when they had these floral Brady Bunch prints. And there were these particular suitcases that kids used to use as a backpack. And they all had like the 70s leather or faux leather trim on the handles and around the suitcase. And then, you know, the Brady Bunch flowers all over it. And I wanted one of those so bad. And I didn't have one of those suitcases. I don't remember what my school bag was because I just envied these so much. And then I think when I got to probably second grade, we had already moved on past that because it was like mid 70s. And, you know, that mod flower power stuff was really just gone. But that was what really, my first bag that I remember loving. And I think when I was like 12 or 13, when Le Sport Sac came out, that was like my first bag from a brand that I had to have. So yeah, so that's basically where it comes from. And I would really, you know, kind of almost call that like my first luxury bag, even though it really isn't luxury. But at that time, it was a high-end brand and it was something that was sought after, believe it or not. Okay, so Jane had another couple of questions. Oh, if money were no object, where would I live and describe my home? Okay, believe it or not, if money were no object, I would definitely move out of the U.S. I would probably want to buy a village house somewhere outside of Warsaw, have it built to my specifications, and live there. And then this way I could be with my friends. I'm in a place that I know, you know, far away from the city and, you know, like kind of as far as I get. But realistically, since it probably wouldn't be easy to do that and, you know, just logistically to do that, my ideal house, I would probably want to live in one of two places. I would want to go to somewhere in the Princeton area because I really do like that area, or Central Jersey Shore, maybe on the outskirts of the shore. And I will want a tiny 2-bedroom house with a very eclectic sort of style. I will want a stone fireplace, a beautiful stone fireplace, wood beams, some colorful accents. I mean, I've seen some houses that basically have things that already were there, existed, that I would put in a house, okay? I'd be fine with that. I really want something that's like a little bit quirky and a little bit funky and not so fussy, and just something that looks a little bit artistic, I guess you could say. I grew up living in a very Italian house at the time with, oh gosh, what do they even call it? There's a name for this style. French Provincial furniture with slip covers, and everything was gold leafed and marbled, and, you know, slag glass, which is the real fancy glass like they make stained glass from. And, you know, just really Capodimonte statues and Lladros and really delicate things that you look but didn't touch. But I'm kind of a tactile person. I like things that you can, you know, like have some texture to it. I will want some place that felt really warm, inviting, and cozy. And I used to really like Victorian style, but I think that that's a little bit too dramatic right now. So I think I would lean more towards just eclectic. Eclectic, leaning a little bit more toward modern, but, you know, I like a lot of rustic touches. So yeah, Jane, when I get my dream house, you're coming to visit. All right, if I could, oh, she asked about the vintage bag. Let's see. I want to make sure that I hit all of the questions. The number one question that I have gotten is, what do I do for a living and what does my day look like? Linda P wanted to know, what does my day look like? So, okay, I'm going to give a rundown of my basic day. And then we'll get to the big question that I was asked. The big question. Okay, So I can't say where I work, and no, I'm not in some kind of a secret government agent or anything like that, but I do work for a government agency, okay? And I just can't say where I work because it's kind of frowned upon to give those details, and I don't want to associate what I do with this channel because they're not anything related whatsoever. But I am an analyst. I used to be a social worker. I moved up from social work to, I used to do inspections and compliance inspections, and now I work in the finance department. So this is going to be my last stop because I will retire from here. I don't see myself moving from this position, and I hope that I will be able to retire early. I hope, retire early for me isn't because I'd have, billions of dollars to retire with, but retire early meaning get my full pension and be able to, be okay with not having a 9 to 5. But I would probably still work because, well, maybe I won't work. Maybe I'd do something a couple days a week that was really fun. But, it's very physically taxing for me now to have to travel into the office. We were working from home for a few years, and I've said before I have rheumatoid arthritis, and commuting is terrible. And there were 2 days this week where I had a super, super long commute and have had to stand for a couple of hours, which is not really easy for me to do. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking to be at a point where I can do things a little bit easier. So my day basically, my job basically involves working to process contracts, monetary contracts, not, other kinds of contracts that some of my people might be known for, but yeah, fiscal related contracts. So typical day for me, and it really depends because we have a particular time of the year where it's really nonstop, and then the rest of the year it's just, kind of a more even and steady workflow. And we do a lot of things that are all year, but during the busiest time, I go into work, I open my emails, I check to see what needs to be done, I look to see what questions need to be answered, and then I review to see what documents I have to obtain, who I need to contact for further information. I have to track where contracts are in the contracting process and, have a handle on all of that. Look at numbers as far as money, where money goes, and then I take a break and I go to lunch or I get a coffee and I get back down at my desk and I do that for the rest of the day. Some paperwork that's involved, there's lots and lots and lots of different pieces. So we're responsible for all of those pieces and to make sure that people are able to obtain the funding that they need in order to perform things that they do. So it's very rote compared to what I did in the past because I used to go in the field. And I was just thinking to myself today, it's so nice, to be on, in work on a Friday and not have somebody come around and say, okay, well, there's an incident. We have to get a team together. Because that's what they would do sometimes in various positions. They would get a team, which would be, a group of people either to go out to do an assessment or do an investigation or something really, really urgent. Sometimes it would even be at the end of the day and you'd be working until who knows how long. So my job now is very predictable. I've been working for 30 years at the same agency. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have major complaints, but I'm just kind of getting to the point now where I'm tired. 30 years is a very, very long time. And, you get complacent because it would be a hard position to fill if I were to move to go somewhere else. And being on my own, I really can't take huge risks. It would be different if I were a different person in a different situation, or if I had a husband who was bringing in another paycheck, but I don't. So, you know, I've spent mostly 30 good years, very hardworking years, but good years. The big question that I was asked is, what's my net worth? Yes, someone did ask me, what's my net worth? And let me see. And I'm not going to try to embarrass somebody because I thought it was pretty funny. Love always, Jasmine. Jasmine, I'm flattered that you would think that I'd be someone who people would be interested in what my net worth is, because I never even considered that question. I think of like net worth as being, you know, like CEOs and hedge fund managers and, you know, mega celebrities and, you know, huge internet influencers. But yeah, there's another question too that I'm thinking of now, so stick around. I have no idea what my net worth is. I mean, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not rich. By any stretch, I'm not rich. So I have no idea, but I'm flattered that you would think that I would be, you know, one of these net worth Fortune 500 people, but no, definitely not. So the last question that I was asked was by Kaylee Carroll. Kaylee, I love you. I'm so thankful for your constant support. You are awesome. Kaylee asked, would I ever consider doing YouTube full time? Well, Kaylee, that kind of goes along with the retirement question. And if I had a huge subscribership and if I had the views and the revenue to allow me to do that, I absolutely would. But I don't ever see that happening in the near future. I mean, we could get into, you know, the nitty gritty of YouTube, but I did this for fun. I mean, the revenue that I get isn't really much more than what's going to let me pay my cable bill. Actually, it doesn't pay my cable bill a month. It'll pay my cell phone bill, but not the cable bill. We're talking, excuse me, that is just way too high. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have any kind of big sponsorships, you know, like, and I didn't do this looking to get rich or to make money. I did this because I love bags and I love talking about bags and I love talking to people who love bags, and I love all the people that I've met and I love all the friends that I've made, and I really enjoy coming here, you know, and sharing these things. All right, I ran out of space, so I had to do something quick. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get this video up. But yeah, I don't have enough subs and I don't have enough views or view time, really is what counts, in order to do YouTube full time. And, you know, I congratulate anybody who's managed to be able to do that, but I don't see that in my near future. I mean, it would be a nice gig, but probably not going to be for me, but the thought is nice. All right, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging in here with me. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I will see you all in my next video, and I have some fun things coming up, guys. I promise it's going to get a lot more Christmassy and a lot more Vlogmasy soon. And December 24th, Christmas Eve, we will be posting Secret Santa. Everybody loves Secret Santa. Go down in my box, go subscribe to my friends, and I will see you all soon. Bye.